Britain is losing its identity and way of life because of Muslims and immigration. That's the narrative being sold as fact by a new wave of far-right groups. You won't find the media debunking the myth either, nor the politicians who have firmly placed the over-exaggerated risk of immigration on their agenda. The consequence of all these factors is that Islamophobic attacks are on the rise, immigrants are unfairly targeted, and fascist groups like the EDL flourish. But there is a fight back, and United Against Fascism is on that front line.
We've held this conference because we've seen a growth of fascist and racist and Islamophobic organisations growing across Europe. We've been successful in pushing back parts of the EDL, and what we'd like to see is a European campaign to resist the growth of racism and Islamophobia.
The conference discussed how the recession has fueled the rise in the far right as politicians try and divert attention away from austerity.
People are hurting. People are hurting badly. They're suffering with their jobs, with their salaries. And in those circumstances, it's easy to turn around and to blame somebody else. And that's what the government's trying to do, is to get people to turn around and say it's not government cuts, or it's not the bankers and the way they brought the economy low that is to blame for the crisis. It's people coming in, taking jobs and homes and resources. And in those circumstances, the danger of racism rising massively is great.
In a society like Britain, racism has never been far from the helm, although the victims have changed. Jews, Asians, blacks, now Muslims.
We have to look at the people at the top of our society, I think, who are really responsible for whipping up racism. I think they are very Islamophobic. I think it also means that inside the British press you see, I think, consistently really racist arguments against Muslims inside of our society. It's almost become the acceptable part of racism. I think you could easily say it is, the way that anti-Semitism rose in the 1930s. It's exactly the same as what's happening in terms of scapegoating Muslims at the moment.
But why do the media play such a role?
The media is controlled by people who have a huge stake in the system and have a huge stake in the status quo and in not seeing ordinary people fighting for a better society.
In many ways, the creation of this apathy among the general public facilitates racism. That's why organisations like United Against Fascism say it's their duty to get the message out there to ordinary citizens, to the media and to politicians. Nargis Moualari, Press TV, London.